I'm Professor Jenna Hartel from the field of Library and Information Science. This is an episode of What Makes This Paper Great, a series that takes a deep dive into papers about information.
The Design of Browsing and Berrypicking Techniques for the Online Search Interface by Marcia Bates presents one of the best-known and influential models of information behavior in the library and information science literature. At the time of its publication, in the late 1980s, document collections were being digitized and moved into online repositories. You see, well before search engines like Google, researchers in library and information science were trying to figure out the best way to retrieve documents from large online collections. To that end, the berrypicking model provided a new, more naturalistic conception of how people seek information in general. It then served as a springboard to improve the design of interfaces to online collections. The berrypicking model and idea may seem, at first, simple. Unfortunately, many readers take away only its most general features. Here, we will explore all its layers and implications for information provision. Let's go. At 18 pages in length, berrypicking is evenly divided between theoretical or conceptual insights about information behavior and recommendations for information system design. My dove, Bibble, will provide a bird's-eye view of the paper. Part 1, the introduction, recognizes the increasingly complex and online information environment of the late 1980s. Part 2 critiques a long-standing, classic model of information retrieval and then presents the alternative berrypicking model. Part 3 identifies 6 search techniques that are used when looking for information in conventional documentary environments like a library. Part 4 continues to describe the 6 search techniques and provides key design features to install them in the online interface. Part 5 proposes metaphors that may be used to organize a berrypicking interface overall. Part 6 is a short conclusion. Let's jump straight to Part 2. Before presenting her berrypicking vision, Bates analyzes and critiques the long-standing, classic model of information retrieval shown here. Starting at the left, there are documents, which are collected by information institutions. Most bibliographic information systems include a smaller representation or surrogate that captures the document's content in simplified ways for faster and more efficient discovery. On the other side is humankind, with myriad information needs. Information needs are presented, that is, typed, into an information system in the form of a query. The objective within the classic model of information retrieval is to provide a match between the query and the document representation, using an algorithm or other analytic process, thereby resolving the information seeker's information need. Bates identifies a problem and limitation within the classic model. Namely, information seeking and searching is not one shot, as the classic model implies. Rather, it is more iterative and evolving in predictable ways. Therefore, behold, Marcia Bates's berrypicking model. Let's first name its parts. The animating element is the model's curving arrow. It represents an information seeker's experience unfolding in time. Note that their path has many twists and turns. Q stands for queries posed to the information system. The tiny documents are those discovered from searching, and T represents the thought that occurs along the way. Let's continue with my own visual representation to see how everything works together. Motivated by an information need, an information seeker poses an initial query to an information collection. That marks the starting point, the query Q0. That search generates a bunch of documents. After perusing the documents, the searcher is better informed and therefore revises their query to Q1. They search again, and this new batch of documents are subjected to more thought, leading to another revised query, Q2, and a subsequent search. This cyclical pattern, in which a query evolves and different collections are searched, can happen again and again and again. Captured in a vivid and friendly metaphor, information seeking is like picking berries in the forest. Bates writes, "The berries are scattered on the bushes, not in bunches, and they must be picked one at a time." Though the paper and model are more than 30 years old, my students always say, "Hey, that's how I search." In the paper, Bates also briefly addresses the context of berrypicking. With the entire universe of knowledge as the backdrop, the berrypicking search unfolds within a smaller universe of interest. Bates surmises that any information need can instigate a berrypicking pattern, giving the model a universal quality. I can attest from my own research that berrypicking holds true in the hobby of gourmet cooking. An avid cook with an information need may first search Google, seeking a definition. What is brown butter? Then, a new search, this time in YouTube, seeks technical instructions. How do I make brown butter? Eventually, the cook searches in a recipe database, say epicurious.com, to find a brown butter cookie recipe. The notion of information seeking as iterative and evolving is where many discussions of berrypicking stop. But Bates's vision is more sophisticated. Part 3 of the paper enriches the berrypicking model further. Bates identified 6 techniques that people use to search for information across all kinds of information environments. In turn, the 6 techniques are: 1. Footnote chasing. That is, following a reference found within a relevant document. This is also called backwards chaining, since it moves back in time to the document's sources. A second technique is citation searching. Here, a relevant document is used to identify other documents that have since cited it. The reverse of technique 1. This is called forward chaining, since it moves forward in time to the document's later users. These 2 techniques leverage relevance relationships between citing and cited articles. Special databases such as Web of Science or Scopus reveal these dynamics within literatures. Try them. A third technique is a journal run. Having found a journal with relevant articles, explore the other issues of that same journal. This technique maximizes the natural pattern of information known as the Bradford distribution, a law of information scattering, in which 1/3 of relevant papers from any topic are located in a single concentrated location. A fourth technique is area scanning. If you find a book that addresses your information need, go to the library shelves to scan the books nearby, for they have a high likelihood of also being useful. This technique leverages library classification schemes, which locate items on the same topic together. A fifth technique is subject searching in bibliographies and abstracting and indexing services. That is, using databases of published articles, such as ERIC, PsycInfo, or PubMed. This fifth technique is the default of the classic model of information retrieval. It is typically the go-to strategy for searchers, librarians included. A sixth and final search technique is author searching. Having identified an author who is an expert in the universe of interest, find other publications by that same author. After describing the 6 search techniques, Bates makes the good point, still true today, that information seekers are usually not aware of all of these options for finding information. They may employ and master only one or two. Bates stresses that knowing and using more search techniques gives greater power, and online interfaces should enable as many different techniques as possible. Part 4 begins by contrasting browsing to searching during the evolving berrypicking process. Searching implies a targeted precision and movement towards a known or anticipated item. Browsing, on the other hand, is the act of moving through a set of information with a more relaxed and open sense of purpose. When browsing, an information seeker may not know exactly what they need or want until they see it. All of the 6 techniques described by Bates contain some form of browsing at key junctures. Therefore, in this section of the paper, Bates provides key design features for the online interface to enable an evolving berrypicking process with strategic combinations of browsing and searching. Part 5 steps back to imagine metaphors for the overall organization of a berrypicking interface. Prior systems designers have proposed a book or conversation as a framework. Bates suggests the metaphor of a library. The paper ends with a succinct conclusion and summary. Let's read it to consolidate our understanding. A model of searching called berrypicking has been proposed here, which, in contrast to the classic model of information retrieval, says that typical search queries are not static, but rather evolve. Searchers commonly gather information in bits and pieces, instead of in one grand, best retrieved set. Searchers use a wide variety of search techniques, which extend beyond those commonly associated with bibliographic databases. Searchers use a wide variety of sources other than bibliographic databases. So, what makes this paper great? When it was published in 1989, the berrypicking model represented information seeking and searching in a far more natural way, moving our field in humanistic directions. Its keen insights were extended to improve the interface to online repositories, and most of its key design features have since been implemented. Everything was communicated in an accessible, playful, and memorable metaphor that still resonates with searchers today. Another mark of greatness is that berrypicking sits centrally within Marcia Bates's writings, such that many of its components are further elaborated, forming one of our field's most complete and satisfying visions of information science. In the description below is a link to a fun quiz and discussion questions for educators and students who wish to deepen their understanding of the ideas at hand. Thanks for watching this episode of What Makes This Paper Great. Check out my other episodes in the series and related videos about library and information science. Subscribe to my video channel, Biblium, to be informed of new videos. Goodbye.